Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk a little bit about bulimia because I feel like I've given you guys like a lot of insight as to like my history. I've made a lot of steps to change myself recently. I made a previous video about it. I have been 1 week clean of purging of any sort, and even really the thought of purging in 3 years, and that feels incredible. Since then, I have made a lot of progress. I'm trying some different things, and I'm like on the road to, you know, my normal self, and I just kind of wanted to make a video on that. Sorry, that's my cat. I realize there's a lot of people in the same boat that I'm in. I thought that this would be cool to make because I've gotten a lot of DMs since I started posting this stuff, and I just hadn't posted an update in a while, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm also gonna kind of like get ready and stuff while I'm making this video. So, little backstory for you. I suffered from bulimia for about 3 years. I mainly suffered from laxatives. I never actually threw up, but I suffered from laxatives really badly. And then I also had a problem with chewing and spitting out my food. It was like a compulsive level. For me, it wasn't necessarily an image problem rather than just how I felt, because I was a huge gym junkie at the time, and like I was training really hard for an event. After I finished the event, everyone was kind of telling me to treat myself, and like social pressure kind of got to me, and I ended up just with a huge binge mentality and felt so guilty that I would just abuse laxatives to try and get the feeling out of me. But as a result of that, and like the chewing and spitting thing, I ended up malnourished and gaining weight because my metabolism was so slow after a while. So that sucked. What made me really want to stop, I think, was just the idea that I would wake up every day with the same thought, go to bed with the same thought, because I think a lot of people suffer from eating disorders all day, every day. That is when I kind of, like, got my shit together. Now we're gonna get into the other stuff. I have a bunch of notes on my phone because I recorded this video the other day too. I feel like I always gotta record them twice nowadays, but I was watching it and it's just like I ramble on to so many different subjects that I just want to stay on this one because there's a lot of information and I just want to give it to you. So here we go. In this video, I'm gonna kind of go over when I got concerned, what I'm doing now, if it's working, how I feel about it, what I want to see, what I expect to see, like those sort of things. I think that everybody kind of just goes through their own little internal transformations when they're suffering through things like this, but what really like got me to change though, getting concerned about something, knowing something's a problem and actually changing and like taking the action to help yourself, are two completely different things, and unfortunately I don't think they always go hand in hand for people. That's just human nature, I guess. Again, I got my notes. Kind of feel like I decided to change when, well, I started to change when I met Cam. I think I didn't want to drag any of my personal issues into our relationship because at the time I wasn't looking for a relationship, blah, 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 but for me that was really important. It wasn't just that, but I wanted to be really devoted, I guess, and you really can't be that devoted if you're that in your own crap with your psychological problems. You're just kind of emotionally unavailable. And so and like another thing was honestly just reading up on like how bad what I was doing was to me, like, because again I knew it was bad but I just didn't know how damaging it was. And after I kind of like got the balls to look up what I was doing to myself, like chewing and spitting or laxatives or how that affects my lower GI. She can't come in here.
I love you.
I love you too.
She's very unhappy about it.
Oh, I know. Honestly, I think it was just the monotonous thought of that I have had the same problem for 3 years, and even though I've gone through like breakups and people I'm close to getting diagnosed with terminal illnesses and me living in my car, like I really feel like this issue has been in the back of my mind the entire time, being the hardest thing I've ever dealt with. Like photo shoots and shows and music videos, like I always want to put them off because I'm like don't feel good about myself, and I was so limited by that. I think that everyone goes through their own little steps in life to overcome that, but I just had enough. That is not gonna be my story. Alright, so now we're gonna talk about reverse dieting, why you should do it, how it works, all that stuff. Reverse dieting is to speed up your metabolism. If you're having a hard time losing weight and stuff, that is what you do to get your metabolism where it should be. When anyone's purging, you don't really know how much you're consuming, right? Because you're purging. That's the point. I realized I had a very slow metabolism or adapted metabolism when I couldn't lose weight or didn't have energy. There's a bunch of other like symptoms that you'll see for people who have damaged metabolism. Those were just mine. And when I realized that, I realized I wanted to speed my metabolism up. You slow your metabolism down in a lot of ways. The way I did it was just not eating, so my body just adapted to eating a little bit of food. I should have been eating around 1,600 calories a day with my activity level and my weight. I did the math. The average person eats around 2,000 calories a day. I did 3 days of tracking my calories to see how much I was consuming, and it was 600, which is insane. That would explain a lot of my issues. So what I did is I did a reverse diet, and every couple weeks I would up my calories by like 100 calories until I got to the 1,600 calorie mark. And it took a while, and I was doing this reverse diet for like 4 months. So I would say I had a great experience with it. My body composition didn't change at all, so I was able to get my metabolism where it needed to be, and you know, I have energy and I feel like a normal person and stuff. I counted my macros and my calories with this app called My Plate by Livestrong. I've been using that app for a long time. So like after that 4 months, then I could start like working on my goals again or whatever I had in mind, and now I'm kind of like doing what I wanted to do this entire time. So now I'm just gonna talk a little bit about advice and tips and stuff, and disclaimer, I'm telling you based on my experiences with my ED. This is kind of like a special type of addiction, and I've said this before, but it's not a social addiction, so it's very private. I feel like the only way I got help or like could get advice was by YouTube, to be honest, because no one really talks about it. Here is my advice to you. 1, do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself, even if other people don't get it. For example, I feel so much better about tracking things because it lets me know what's going into my body and how much of it's going into my body, and it helps me eat enough. That sort of thing, where that can look kind of like psychotic, paranoid behavior to other people, and they don't always get it, you know? And I had to do what was best for me in that situation, and I did. Or people will look at you and be like, why are you counting so much? You're already so skinny, or whatever. It's not about how fat or skinny you are, it's about like literally having a good relationship with food. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is going to be keep judgment-free people around you. For example, Cameron's very judgment-free. I live with him all the time, obviously. We were both kind of going through like our own little addictions and stuff at one point, and so it was nice to like have someone to talk to you about it and like get it. You have to do certain strategic things when you're in these positions to avoid your like triggers or your things that are gonna get you into a bad place very quickly, and like we both had those things, and so it was good to be able to like talk to somebody about it and who would kind of do those psychotic things with you, I guess. If you're with someone who doesn't understand, like I don't think that it's gonna translate that well, and they're not gonna understand how cautious you have to be about certain things that, and it looks really weird, but like it helps. Like if I'm baking something, I throw away like sugar and all that stuff after I'm done baking, because it's like $1 first of all, so I'm not wasting money, but also because I don't want to binge, because if I binge then I'll feel guilty, and then, or even sometimes if I just eat it, I'll feel guilty and then I'll want to purge. So it's like, just keep that stuff out. He gets it. He's not gonna freak out if he sees like a full box of sugar in the trash like every week, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Keep judgment-free people around you because you're gonna have some weird habits, and that's okay. And the last tip I have for you is just be aware of how damaging you can be to you. Again, I said this in the beginning of the video, but I knew that what I was doing to myself was bad. Like when someone says, okay, if you have a laxative problem, you're gonna get stomach issues. You're like, oh, okay, stomach issues. You're thinking like something you can take Tums for. And then you read into it and it's like, stomach ulcers. If they burst, they can like kill you or get infected. And you're just looking at yourself like, this is no longer a stomach ache, it's something that I'm putting myself at risk for. Like, I guess I just put those two things together and I was like, oh my god, I suck. And it's crazy when you're like kind of in a compulsive behavior like that you would even need to know. But I think there are a lot of people who avoid knowing the full story or all the facts because of how like ashamed they are. That was me, I feel like after you're aware of it and you're still doing it, it can kind of be categorized as self-destructive. And I don't want to be self-destructive. Even if that stuff is really far-fetched, the fact that I'd be like, well, only 15% of people will get that, and then still act on it, even though it's something that I don't like about myself every day and I do it, is ridiculous. Just do your research, and there's nothing good that comes from it, and you slowly realize just how like pathetic you are. And you gotta realize that, you gotta wake up to kind of make those changes sometimes. That was like one of the best things I ever did for myself. I don't want to be known as the person who has this story of being like 15 years deep in this thing that I could have changed the whole time. I could have changed the whole time, and like I'm the only one that can change that. And that's why things are so empowering. You are the only one who can do it. That's why it's so, liberating, but I now understand that it's also very devastating when it's the flip side of things, and you're doing something to yourself that you don't want to do. So be aware of how damaging you can be to you. That might just conclude my video. I think that's gonna do it. And if you or anyone else is struggling with this sort of thing, comment in the comment section. And I hope this video helped you a little bit. And that's gonna do it. So I will talk to you guys in the comment section, and see you later.